we made an unskippable ad to tell you that there are amazing offers on Zomato.
I just wondered if Marjoram had maybe a tweak of a muscle or something. He does look a bit disconsolate down there, or maybe it's just exhaustion. This is ultimately the very beginning of the campaign for these players after a summer break. I haven't seen many changes so far. The one change we did see from East Bengal, Debajit Roy, almost provided the equaliser for them. Wonder if the wholesale changes that we'll surely see in the second period might swing the momentum one way or the other.
Yes, potentially. When Aston Villa brought on their substitutes after the first half, after the half-time break in the game earlier, you definitely saw a different type of Aston Villa. They were far more direct, managed to get the ball in better areas and actually prove more of a threat, and that was showed by the fact that they scored 2 goals in that second 25. I can imagine that being the same potentially for Crystal Palace. You've got to remember, when England have got so much infrastructure, you would argue that these players are far more used to playing this amount of games. So I think it's going to be a pattern where you do see these English sides bringing on players after the half-time break. The Indian sides maybe being more fluid with their substitutions and willing to make a substitution from 10 minutes in, let's say.
Yeah, and you wonder how much the substitutes have been pre-planned and the rotations have been pre-planned with the 4-day event that we have here, because even though they're 25-minute halves, you know, it's not far off being 45 minutes. It's probably close to 35 in total, with the ball going out of play and the clock stopping. So it's not a mini game by any means. We saw Rory Wilson for Villa earlier play the full game and score his penalty as well, as he scored twice in regulation time. Do you think might see a rest for players that play the full game today, or how do you think the managers will be approaching that situation?
Well, when I was having a look at the fixture list earlier, I saw that, of course, they're playing every day, but you have got Crystal Palace finishing their game at 3 PM today, and then they're kicking off at 10 AM tomorrow. So they do have lesser time, and you will get the sides over the next few days where they may play at 10 AM and then the next day at 3 PM and then the day after that at 10 AM. So the windows of when they're not playing and being able to re-energise are really crucial, and therefore substitutions, of course, I reckon they would be pre-planned. And this is a different type of footballing tournament. It's what makes it interesting. So I wouldn't be surprised if the managers already have an idea of who they're going to bring on for what points. But of course, as the game goes on, you're going to want to win. If you're in a bad position, you're going to want to have the players to see you cross the line, because at the end of the day, they're still up for silverware.
Doesn't look at first glance as though we're going to see too many changes from Palace. It looks as though Anantu is going to be reintroduced for East Bengal FC, opting for the roll-on, roll-off. Wait to confirm who was withdrawn. It was Debajit Roy who he came off for initially, and those were the 2 players doing the most running, maybe taking in turns to do so for this 50-minute encounter. But no changes just yet for Palace by the looks of it.
Maybe give them a bit more time to play with one another. Now that they've got that goal, the game may open up more, so perhaps the manager wants to see them in this position together as a unit and see how they go into this second period being a goal up. Perhaps Bengal will be more eager to get forward, which could open up more opportunities for Crystal Palace, because the narrative of that first half was a very resolute, stubborn defence, which was unlocked right at the end, which will provide surely a different narrative for this second 25, Ben.
And the other alternative we've not really contemplated is you might just see some of these, or all of these players, play the whole game and then see a completely new lineup tomorrow. Different tactics, different approaches. It's a really interesting tournament, and we hope for a really interesting second half as East Bengal look to rescue something from this one. 25 minutes to salvage a point.